All right, so today we're going to talk about longevity in skateboarding and how you can, apply certain factors into your own lifestyle that is going to give you the better chances of sustaining, what we love to do or like to do. For some of us, it's something that we just can't live without. For others, we're okay with taking a break. Certain things have just, allowed me to sustain my skill level and even progress whenever I have the opportunity to. Everyone's skateboarding journey is not the same. So some of us are skating every day, for a couple hours. Others may be skating 1 hour a week. It depends, right? But the following things that I'm going to mention can be applied to anyone, whether you're someone who's who wants to skate for the rest of their life, or someone who is just wanting to skate, to build the skill, or just kind of see how it goes. Wow, there's mosquitoes here.
As a pastime?
As a pastime, regardless, these things are going to help you. You're going to get injured skating or not. There's plenty of skaters I've grown up skating with or am meeting at the moment, and because they went so hard, kind of used grit to the max, they're struggling to walk, they're struggling to enjoy their day-to-day if it's not with skateboarding. Introduce factors that are going to allow you to delay gratification with skateboarding, regardless of how you approach it. So, first one is very simple. Just stay hydrated. It means, getting fruit that have a lot of water in them, like watermelon, melons. What's another one? There's like the passion fruits. As you learn what is going to benefit you as far as like staying hydrated and having you work or be more effective on the board, you have to be open to leaning into it. Something like a Gatorade or a Red Bull can help you, but once you start depending on that, or even like a coffee, I drink a lot of coffee. Once you start depending on those things, it can actually work against you. If you find yourself relying on certain things, then you might want to think about how you can set yourself up so that you're not necessarily relying on it, but you're using it as a tool. Second one is, making sure you take your time as you do things, so that you're not always rushing yourself and in a anxious state, because that energy or that state of being is going to transfer on the board. I'm coaching kids, and there's one kid in specific I think about. He gets very excited about skateboarding that he almost hurts himself with not even skateboarding, but just kind of being jittery around the park. So we got to learn how to calm ourselves and just approach skateboarding in a manner in a manner that isn't so jumpy and more controlled, where there's breath in between our movements. It's not trying to do one thing after another. It's more of making sure you're slowly getting yourself to the point you need to, right? If you feel very pressured to just get skateboarding over with for whatever reason, then you also might want to think about how that might be hurting you. Just because we're moving faster, it doesn't mean that we're actually getting stuff done. And I found that that's the case with skateboarding. If you allow yourself to take a breather in between, your runs, or a breather in between your tricks, you're gonna find that things are a bit more efficient and effective, and it's also way more beneficial when you consider this as a tool to continuously implement, so that you can do skateboarding for a long time, right? Because if you're just always bam, 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 knocking tricks off and trying to do things as fast as possible, you're eventually going to lead to burnout. Instead, you might want to think about how you can just slow it down, incorporate breath. And I don't mean just like inhaling, exhaling. I mean actually just like having breath throughout your movements where they're a bit more relaxed, so that the transitions you have from when you're skateboarding to when you're not aren't so stressful. Because I found if you're so used to skateboarding and then you find yourself where you need to sit down because of injury or because you are actually tired and your body needs time to recover, I found that could be very depressing if you're someone who's used to going all in. So hydration, taking a breath. Another one is making sure you're not just relying on skateboarding for your movement if all the activity or physical activity you're doing is on skateboarding, then you might want to think about, giving some time to just walking, giving some time to doing some resistance training, or giving some time to doing something else. And I'm not saying be a full-on gym person or be a full-on walker, jogger, or runner. It's just making sure that you don't feel like you need to use up all your energy on skateboarding, because you got to give time to other things, so that when you're skateboarding, you're kind of more appreciative of it, and it's not just like, oh yeah, this is the normal thing, you know what I mean? There's been periods of times where I'm just at the skate park every day for a long time, and I found that my sessions aren't productive, my progression isn't as effective, or my progression doesn't grow as effectively as I would have assumed. And that's just simply because you kind of take it for granted. You take the time you have in there for granted. And so it's better to make sure you have other things occupying your day-to-day, so that when you do go to skateboarding, you're completely given the opportunity to focus, because you simply want to do it a little bit more, right? So we're gonna get mics, don't worry. These tools, doing things outside of skateboarding, making sure you're hydrated, giving yourself breath throughout your movement, they're not only applicable to myself, they're contextual to everyone who is a skateboarder, right? Because like I said, everyone has a different approach to skateboarding, and I found that these things help anyone who is skateboarding, whether they're a professional skateboarder or someone who's just picking it up as a hobby. We can also talk about being well nourished. Maybe that's for another topic or for a video that's going to elaborate on this concept. We talked about making sure that you have other things to do aside from skateboarding, so that you can appreciate skateboarding a bit more. These are measures that give you the time to breathe, basically. Like, and then not breath as in inhale, exhale again. It's more breath as in like making sure you're not rushing through things that can be really beneficial. Being able to slow down and then increase at your discretion, basically. It's something that you can enjoy many different benefits of. If you're interested in lessons or coaching, I offer that, and you can hit me up at profe.carlos. Other than that, appreciate you watching, and I completely messed up this ending, but have a great rest of your day, and we'll improve for the next video.